Tyranitar. Hello again, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Kaiju Corner. Today we're going to do something a little different. I was browsing the internet and I saw these neat Pokemon Lego sets, and I thought about the Pokemon Pseudozilla Tyranitar, and I thought about getting it at some point to do a Lego build video of him. But then the other day I was walking around at 2nd and Charles and I saw it on the shelf, so I figured I would go ahead and grab it since I was already there. And I also saw this neat little Godzilla plushie, so I thought it was kind of cute, so I grabbed it as well while I was there. But when I saw the box, I wasn't expecting it actually to be so big. It looked a lot smaller on the Amazon page. I will post a link down in the video description for anyone who would like to purchase either of those themselves. I initially thought about making this an ASMR type video where I just put it together and would talk about my thought process and my thoughts on the model. But the construction at normal speed was around an hour long, and there really wasn't much of a process anyway. It was just me following the little booklet. And I didn't want to make an hour-long video of just me putting Legos together, so I decided to play it a little sped up to save some time. You will notice some weird skips and cuts during the video. That's because I was recording on my phone and it kept running out of video space, so sometimes it would stop recording before I noticed, or sometimes I would build a piece wrong and I would just cut out the part of me having to remake that part. But it turns out that these are not actual Legos. It's some company called Mega Constructs. So they are similar to Legos and have pieces similar to Legos. Some pieces I've never seen as Legos as well. So you'll sometimes see me pick up a piece and try to show it to the camera. And that's because I initially thought about kind of showing off these unique pieces or pieces that I thought looked neat. But in the end, I want to make this video and I want to have a little something more than you guys just watching me build this Legos. So I thought I would use this time to talk about Tyranitar as an impromptu Kaiju Codex episode. That's right, this is actually a Kaiju Codex episode. You have been bamboozled. For those who are somehow not familiar with Pokemon, Tyranitar is the final step in the Larvitar evolutionary line. It is a large bipedal, green, spiky, Kaiju-like Pokemon that is oddly reminiscent of another very popular Kaiju. But let's get started with Kaiju type. Tyranitar, as mentioned before, is a bipedal Kaiju of a somewhat reptilian nature. The Pokédex, the Pokemon Codex, classifies Tyranitar as an armor Pokemon, and his type is Rock Dark. Next is Agenda, and Agenda is a somewhat difficult decision on where to place Pokemon. There are not intentionally malicious, as they are simply wild animals in their own setting, and no more uncommon than going outside and just seeing any regular animal for us, like a dog or a bird. But these pocket monsters hold great power and can easily demolish cities with an earthquake or engulf a mountain range with a black hole. But despite their power, they are willing to befriend humans and come to their aid most of the time. These kaiju are commonly seen using their powers to help improve the standard of living for everyone, and for their tendency to become caretakers of their human owners and friends, I'll place Pokemon in general in the Defender's agenda. Next is size. Tyranitar typically stands around 6 feet tall and weighs a little over 400 pounds. This does, at this point in time, make Tyranitar the smallest kaiju in the Kaiju Codex so far, but that does not in any way make him the least powerful. Now we have Physiology. In the Pokedex, Tyranitar is labeled as the Armor Pokemon, given that its entire body is encased in a thick armored hide that protects it from many forms of attack and damage. Tyranitar takes reduced damage from the normal, flying, poison, ghost, fire, and dark type attacks. Tyranitar is completely immune to damaging psychic attacks. But on the other side of the spectrum, Tyranitar does have vulnerabilities as he takes increased damage from ground, bug, steel, water, grass, and fairy type abilities, and greatly takes increased damage from fighting based moves. This increased damage taken from steel and fighting seems counterintuitive to him being a Pokemon covered in protective armor, but that's just how his physiology is. But let's move on to abilities. Tyranitar has a very powerful jaw, which it can deliver devastating bite attacks. It also has a set of mighty claws, a thick tree trunk-like tail, and as well its own size and weight that it can throw around and knock other combatants off balance. Tyranitar, like all Pokemon, can learn a variety of abilities called moves from a personalized list, but we will place these moves in the special abilities section. But speaking of its physical capabilities, the Pokedex mentions that Tyranitar can, quote, change the landscape, end quote. Another Pokedex quote, with just one of its mighty hands, it can shake the ground and make mountains crumble. And a third Pokedex quote, if it rampages, it knocks down mountains and buries rivers. Maps must be redrawn afterward, end quote. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty fearsome kaiju right there. Most giant Kaiju can't even make these kinds of boasts. And now we move on to special qualities and abilities. As stated previously, all Pokemon, including Tyranitar, can learn a special set of abilities called moves. These moves border on supernatural powers or even magical powers, but they are as normal to Pokemon as breathing or eating. To help secure that Tyranitar deserves a spot as a kaiju, we will start with its hidden ability, Unnerve. This power is basically Tyranitar is so intimidating that opposing Pokemon are too afraid to eat a held berry, which could grant them a combat bonus when used. Tyranitar also possesses a signature ability called Sandstream, which summons a sandstorm when it enters combat. So not only does it immediately intimidate an opposing combatant, but it also alters the weather to make itself stronger while damaging its opponent. On top of being naturally scary and influencing the weather simply from it being, it can learn fearsome moves such as Fire Fang, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Hyper Beam for that Godzilla-like effect. Tyranitar can also be taught neutral list moves such as Mega Punch, Avalanche, Body Slam, and Blizzard. These extra move lists also include moves such as Water Pulse, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower if you wanted your Pseudozilla to have a variety of breath attacks. More recently, it has been discovered that Tyranitar can do something called Mega Evolve. In a similar fashion to another popular kaiju anime, Tyranitar can unlock a secret form with help of its trainer and a special held item to become Mega Tyranitar. Doing so makes Tyranitar even bigger and spikier, raising its stats by an overall 100 points. But this does not change its Pokemon type from Rock Dark. And lastly, we come to ranking. When it comes to rank, I think I would have to rank Tyranitar at C. I feel that I had to give Tyranitar this due to its small size uh, on a Kaiju scale, not necessarily a Pokemon, as Pokemon are generally smaller. Uh, Also, how easy it is to actually capture a Pokemon, as well as how easy it is to acquire one of Tyranitar's weaknesses as another Pokemon. But from it having a nice design and with a decent variety of moves that Tyranitar can even learn a move to counter its own weaknesses, I feel like Tyranitar should be placed into C, as while Tyranitar may not tower over buildings, it can still cause considerable amounts of damage just as any other Kaiju. And from these points, I've decided not to place it into rank D. But now let's throw in some facts and trivia about Tyranitar. Tyranitar evolves from Pupitar at level 55. Tyranitar is number 248 in the global Pokemon Pokédex. There is no other Pokemon that exists that has the same type combination as Tyranitar, which is Rock Dark. Tyranitar, Mega Tyranitar is tied with Mega Dionyce for the highest base stat total of all Rock type Pokemon, and Mega Tyranitar is also the highest base stat total of all Dark type Pokemon. Mega Tyranitar has the highest base attack and defense of all Dark type Pokemon. And Tyranitar has the lowest speed stat of all the pseudo legendary Pokemon. Tyranitar's name and body design seem to take strong inspiration from the armadillo girded lizard, which is a desert dwelling lizard. Possibly the Tyrannosaurus, a very well known dinosaur from the Cretaceous period, as well as general influence from the Kaiju monster film genre. And now that's all completed, here we'll get a good look at the finished model. And here we could see Tyranitar doing his best Godzilla impersonation, as that classic scene from the King of the Monsters film. And now we'll get my best Jobby impersonation as we take a look at the flexibility of the model. We got a ball joint here, ball joint here, ball joint here, ball joint here, a swivel in the fingers, ball joint in the neck, a a hinge in the mouth that allows it to open, and then of course a swivel in the spines, allow them to rotate a little bit, a ball joint in the tail, as well as a second ball joint in the tail. Though that one is a little more stiff, as well as some hinges along the tail that allow it to also swivel. All in all, it was a pretty fun little thing to put together. I think the model is pretty cute. You can definitely tell which Pokemon it's supposed to be. And yeah, thank you again for watching another one of my videos. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, stick around for future content. I also have a Twitter up now for this account. Be sure to check that out periodically. I'll post kaiju related stuff there. Not too sure what all I'll be posting. But yeah, thank you again for checking out one of my videos, and stay tuned for future content. And as always, see you later.